Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show, Chris. Some Big Ten, best conference in the country action going on
Woo.
right now against the defending national champion, Ohio State Buckeyes, taking on your team that you had kind of highlighted in the offseason going into this year. Illinois still, hey, only one loss, still seasons ahead of them. I don't want to get too much into that. Do you any disservice here. Chris, I'm going to start off talking about Ohio State and what the Fighting Ryan Days have been up to this year. Look, Julian's saying, I think he's starting to come into his own, right? This year, starting off, we had some questions about him. I think just looking at how college football has played out this year with the Garrett Nussmeyers, the Cade Klubniks, the Arch Mannings of the world, right? Offense has been a little down. It's taken some of these teams a few weeks to get it going, and he looked pretty damn good against an okay, not great Minnesota defense, I feel like. He put up 320 yards last week and 3 touchdowns. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and Max Clare, they're the go-to guys in this offense. Chris, that's the thing that you look at when you think of Ohio State. You think, okay, hey, Jeremiah Smith, he's the guy. But ironically this year, everyone knows that. I don't think he's had a bad year. I still think, obviously, when he comes out and gets ready for the draft, he'll be one of the top receivers. But Carnell Tate, kind of like Alabama, a team we're going to kind of talk about, and Jeremy Bernard and, Ryan Williams out there in a similar situation. They're the ones actually getting a big boost from having these elite playmakers on the outside. Everyone's focused on, Jeremiah Smith. Carnell Tate's been eating and doing what he needs to do. Look, overall on offense, I think they've got a 3-headed rushing attack that they like to, with Jackson and Peoples and then Donaldson. They will feed the ball, and this is one of the most, let's slow it down here, Chris. This is one of the most dangerous offenses in college football. And it all hinged on Julian saying of that offensive line, and I think they're all coming together. I thought, they'll probably lose a couple games this year. No, they are passing the test and doing what they need to do. Here's the thing. Illinois' defense, and you're going to talk about them, they're pretty good. I don't think they're elite, but they're pretty damn good on their own right. On the opposite side of the ball, Ohio State only giving up 2 touchdowns all year long. I think that's a pretty good stat there for it. Look, I think they're going to give Luke Altmaier some fits in this one. They're going to limit that rushing attack, and they're going to make Illinois throw the football. The one thing, and I got to give Ryan Day credit for this, because he used to be Lincoln Riley 2.0, but they learned how to get physical at the Ohio State University, and you got to give your hat off to them there, Chris. Tell me a little bit about the Fighting Illini, Chris.
Yeah, you touched on them, right? 5-1 on the year. Beat Purdue last week, 43-27. I watched a majority of that game. It was kind of a weird game. There's some issues with the Illinois defense. I'll touch on that in a minute. That game was closer at points than it probably should have been. But I'll say this, like the offense, man, it does look good. They're very balanced. Quarterback Luke Altmaier, this guy's played a ton of football, dude. He's played in almost every single environment you could possibly think of. Veteran guy. He's got pretty good numbers on the year. Nobody's talking about him much, but he's got over 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, which is pretty impressive. One thing I did learn, though, and kind of knew this, wide receiver Hank Beatty, he throws to this guy literally 70% of the time. And he's a pretty damn good wide receiver. Now, Beatty's got 32 catches on the year for 569 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's averaging right around 18 yards per catch. It'll be interesting to see how he stacks up against this Ohio State defense. I honestly think Ohio State's defense is probably best in the country. Their secondary, in my opinion, is definitely best in the country with Caleb Downs back there. Regardless, running back Caden Fegan, if you haven't seen this guy, he's 6'3", 250. He is a monster. He's got 79 carries on the year for 316 yards. His counterpart, Khalil Valentine, actually has more yards, but has 3 touchdowns as well. So, like I said, this offense for Illinois is super balanced, and they've been pretty damn good this season. Now, on the other side of the ball here, I have some big concerns about their defense. They gave up way too many yards, way too many points, in my opinion, against a subpar Purdue team last week. They gave up quite a few to USC the week before that. Here's the ranks, Christian. They rank 93rd in total defense. They're 62nd against the run. They suck against the pass, man. I hate to say it. There's only 134 teams in Division I, I believe, this year. They rank 111th there. I'd like to think Sayan's going to have probably a big day, especially with those wide receivers that you mentioned. They do get to the quarterback, though, which is a good thing. They got 15 sacks on the year, which puts them at 37th in the country. So I'm a little surprised because when you think of Brett Bielema, right, you think of great defenses, physical lines of scrimmage. The defense is going to have to get better. Definitely going to have to come to play in this game. So with that being said here, Christian, I don't have any questions today to ask you because I want to know, more importantly, where you're leaning with this game. The spread, I believe, is Ohio State minus 14 the last time I looked. I could give you my thoughts here real quickly, or do you have some questions for me on this game, Christian?
My question for you is this. Like I said, I said, hey, it's coming at some point with Illinois where they're going to play somebody and they're going to have a good defensive stand. Now, they haven't done it yet. You go back to the Indiana game, feel like they got just boat raced. USC still was putting points up. They kind of did exactly what they needed to do at like the right time. And then obviously last week we saw Purdue put up points on them and kind of move that ball down the field. Chris, is there a chance that Illinois can get their defensive woes kind of in check and be what you thought they were, to quote Lovie Smith? Or not Lovie Smith, but and not let him off the hook.
Yeah, no, I think, no, it's like I said, the Brett Bielema thing, he's a damn good coach. He's been coaching for a million years now. He always has good defenses. Here's my problem, though. It's who they're playing here. You mentioned it, start the show, right? Ohio State's offense is elite. It is. It's got playmakers on the outside. The running backs, they got a bazillion of them. They're all NFL-type caliber, especially the Jackson kid. I really like him. Julian Sayin, in my opinion, is probably playing just as good as any quarterback in the country. You really look at his stats after the Texas game. In my opinion, if I were handing out a Heisman today, he'd be on that list. He'd be up there, in my opinion. So it's going to be tough, man. I see what you're saying here. At home, Illinois, you kind of feel like it's a must-win game, obviously, in their, in their regard. But look, I'm going to get into it here real quick, Christian, with my thoughts and my score prediction here. Like I said, why the Illini are at home, and they've been pretty damn good on offense in their own regard. They're, like I said, they're running into a buzzsaw here in Ohio State, in my opinion. Ohio State, you mentioned it, they're giving up 5 points a game, dude. I know you can say, hey, they played a couple nobodies in there, but they held Texas. Say what you will about Texas to 7 points. They shut down Washington. Washington is a team that I'm high on. I think they only allowed, what was the final score? 20-something to 6. They're Ohio State's good. That was on the road. Washington never gets beat at Washington. I got Ohio State here 34, Illinois 10.
Close, very close. I got Ohio State 35, Illinois 21.